any segregation because you're on MySpace or because you're on Hi-Fi. It allows you to connect to people outside your own network, which is a great opportunity.
So more or less your advice is that it shouldn't matter, right?
It shouldn't matter. It should be all like unified.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't matter, but I think it does matter, I guess. You have an opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're still really bullish on Facebook, and I think that all the viral channels that are there, the invites, the feeds, and notifications, those are still present. It's just they've some of the rules of engagement have changed a little bit, and I think overall it's for the better. And you can still leverage all of those channels. It's the context and relevance is just much more important. And so if you're going to really kind of have a long-term sustainable product in the platform, I think that you're going to have to go and use all those channels in a way that's improved so far. So I think that from our perspective, I mean, Facebook has done a lot of things right. They have the most true mapping of people's real-world social connections, and so if you're looking for something that's beyond just a 6-month quick, try and make some dough or something, that makes a lot of sense to go.
Let's see, we have any questions? I'm sorry, let me grab one over here. Two people have fight it out. Dave, you're bigger in front, so go for it.
Well, first of all, does MySpace even have a social graph? No. Okay.
It depends on how you define a social graph, but I think if we say friends list, then the answer would be yes.
All right. Well,
is that it?
Well, actually, more on when Open Social gets to the point of supporting REST and templates, doesn't that pretty much equate to Facebook? Does that put them on par with what you can do, as long as there's a social graph to map against?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dive into too much detail on what Open Social is because I don't profess to do it, but I think it's a profile, it's a friends list, and it's potentially a series of distribution mechanisms. That's the part in 0.7 that hasn't been implemented in MySpace yet, but will be soon, theoretically.
The reason why I ask is because I've heard that on Hi-5, who has implemented 0.7, the number of people who refer an application to another person is actually higher than on Facebook.
I think that possibly is the case where that's at least a platform decision on Hi-5's part to dial up virality higher, essentially, than Facebook, which would seem to be a good decision. By the way, great essay article by Max Liptzin. Max Liptzin, I'm not sure what, WordPress.com. Game theory for platforms. Really long piece, but really excellent piece that talks about sort of what the decision framework is for platform providers on how to drive developer adoption. I think it's an interesting piece to read if you're thinking about like what the different platforms you might be looking at have to offer. I know we're digging into demo times here, so we should probably wrap up this a little bit, but let's take one more question. Woman in the back there, right?
We have an application on Facebook, and we are thinking of developing it according to different platforms. However, I'm a little concerned as the maintenance cost. If I were, how stable is the platform? Facebook, I know that a couple weeks ago, it changed the API of sending the newsfeed, and we spent like 2 weeks figuring it out, which is totally a disaster. I'm just wondering for MySpace and other platforms, how stable? How is it worth the effort of putting it up if I'm going to spend a week every month to maintain it?
So we have a couple of Facebook lovers here that might not have positive opinions about that, but let's take Tim and Kasra's opinions since they're potentially open to that. You guys are both betting that other platforms are interesting. How much time do you think you're going to have to spend maintaining on each of those platforms compared to Facebook?
Well, it really depends on like how you made your app. Like we have a really good engineering team, and that's why we're able to like really port everything over really quickly. Like Bebo literally took us a day, and we haven't had any problems with it anymore. MySpace a little bit more because it's different, but it really depends on your app and how decoupled everything is, and it depends on really like that's what I think. I don't know if you have a different.
I think there's two things. One, it depends on how much you leverage the platform. If you're making lots of different types of API calls, then obviously you're probably going to have more maintenance because there's more things that could go wrong. And then I'd say right now, let's use MySpace as an example. They're an immature platform right now, and how everything about it from a communication mechanism. And right now you find out about changes through either staying in IRC all day long, or making sure that you're getting Twitter alerts on certain key people. I mean, that's kind of the communication mechanism for when platforms
Wow,
for when
that's
the
a new
platform
use of
changes.
Twitter I hadn't thought about. Follow the alpha geeks to note bug changes in platforms.
Oh, no, I'm dead serious when I say that that's actually been the most valuable way that we found out about MySpace platform changes.
People, Zach, you should be charging for your Twitter update feed. Do you know that?
All mine says I hate open source.
So there's certain kind of communication mechanisms. You just make sure you're employing, and then I think it depends on the amount of maintenance as how much you're using, the actual structure of each of the platforms.
Well, it is about API call. If I'm going to send a notification, it is an API call. If that API changes, then it is the maintenance I have to invest. And I'm just wondering how stable the API is as far as your experience.
Well, if we're finding out about changes frequently via Twitter and IRC without any kind of notice beforehand, I think that that's a measure of stability in and of itself.
So what's interesting to me about this is Facebook's reaction. So if they actually got developer attention, they should probably make changes and break things more frequently to take up developer time to focus on their platform, so that people won't bet on other platforms. Interesting little conspiracy theory. So I think we're getting ready for demos, and we should probably wrap up here a little bit. I have two brief announcements, plugs. So for those of you who are interested, Web2 Expo is happening next week up in the city. If you don't want to spend money on the real paid subscription stuff, which actually spent 3-6 months planning, I think is worth it, but the Expo passes are only about $100, $120, I think, and might be discounted if you find discounts online. So that's in the city Tuesday through Friday. I'm doing a startup metrics workshop on Tuesday if folks want to know about that, but there's lots of cool sessions. Graphing Social Patterns East, for those of you interested in making the trek to DC, is June 9th to 11th, and that will be lots of fun for those of you who came to the other Graphing Social Patterns events. LinkedIn will be keynoting, and we hope to hear about their platform particularly. They say they may be able to reveal stuff then. And then if you're not making the trek out east, June 13th, there is actually a social gaming summit that Charles Hudson is putting on here in the Bay Area. And actually some of the folks in the room will probably be involved there, but that'll be all about social games. I think that's Friday, June 13th, I think is the date for that. And with all those plugs, demos, let's take it away.
Can I just ask a question? How many game developers are in the crowd? Any game developers? Okay, cool.
So all the rest of you want to be game developers, right?
So we're going to be releasing our app soon, and we're looking for really friendly developers to help us put stuff out. And if you guys are interested, come talk to me afterwards. I can't really demo it, but I can probably give you guys private demos, and we can talk about it. Thanks.
All right. So thanks to all of our panelists for participating in a wild and woolly discussion.
So I'm going to call people up for announcements right now, but before I do, I want to say two things. One, the Web2 Expo General Pass for the main hall, I have a free one. And it's the type, whenever you give it to someone, they send you one more back. So if anybody wants it, just get in touch with me. That's one. Two, we know Dave, he's awesome, we love him, and you really got to get to know him sometimes to get under the skin of what he means or the message. And if some of you caught something that you think was kind of strange, it's not, because I want to say he my nigga, but I won't, because, yeah. But he's cool, he's awesome, and I love him. So if anybody thinks that what you heard sounded kind of strange, just got to get to know the guy. And he didn't mean anything but good stuff. So with that, we're opening the floor to announcements. Try to keep it between 1 to 2 minutes, please, and here's Hiram.
Hey, what's up? I just have to make a random comment. There are real people on MySpace. They're good people, they're just in a different demographic. Anyway, so yeah, there's a super happy dev house this Saturday, I think, in Palo Alto. And so I'm doing a small group of a codathon for social gaming on Facebook and other platforms. Somewhere in the room, I don't know, find me. Maybe I'll put up a sign. But yeah, it's this Saturday in Palo Alto. Just type Super Happy Dev House on Google and you'll find it. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. With that, I'll call up Grace from Slide.